So right now, a lot of people are asking, I want to go, talking to this lender. Should I talk to another lender? When people are comparing lender to lender, what should they be looking at? Because a lot of times people are just thinking, what's the interest rate or what's my total payment going to be?
It is, and that's a great question, Alex. So I get that all the time. Most clients are told to shop multiple lenders, which is fine to make sure you're getting a great deal. What I'm looking at right now, if anyone ever asks why they should work with us, is interest rate, service, and reputation. As a broker, we shop around 12 different investors to make sure we get them a competitive interest rate. We have 7-day-a-week coverage, and people in this market know us. And right now, it matters so much. And I'll talk about how to compare the numbers, but you guys are listing agents. If you get an offer from somebody out of North Carolina you've never heard of, and an offer from a local lender that you know has a reputation of closing on time, what are you going to advise your seller in that scenario?
Sure. Easy.
Absolutely.
And even worse, in my opinion, when you start looking at the online companies, because some of them do a really good job, and I'm not throwing any names out there, but there's just no accountability. They're in another state, they're online, you can't get someone on the phone, and it just makes it different. Because again, when we talk about low inventory, the seller needs to feel comfortable that we can deliver on the contract, and it makes a big difference. But as far as actually comparing numbers, number one, you have to always get a loan estimate. Some people will quote rates over the phone that sound really good, but when you're looking at a mortgage, from a lender standpoint, there's a lot of charges that go in when you look at your closing disclosure, right? But the lender really controls the interest rate, the loan origination, there's typically an underwriting fee, there's just a small section we control. And when I send an estimate, a lot of it's third-party estimates. And I explain to the client, no matter who you go with, all of these are gonna be the same. I'm estimating taxes here, because what I see a lot of times is they go, well, your rate's the same, but their payment's lower. And I'm like, it's because they're estimating taxes and insurance differently. And what we're doing for my business, if I know the property, I'm looking up the actual taxes. I'm not guessing. If we don't know a property, we're estimating in Atlanta, we see taxes run between 1% and 1.25%. So we're gonna estimate on the high end, and then I have a little calculator for my insurance guy to give me the insurance quote. The reason that matters is sometimes people intentionally lowball those numbers to make their payment look lower, and then when the client gets under contract, that changes. So you want to, in my opinion, get referred to someone that you know has worked with them, so you know that they're putting their best foot forward. And then when you're comparing, you're really looking, the two biggest things, if I had to tell someone to compare, and I do this all the time, what is their interest rate and what is their loan origination charge? Because when you hear points, discount points, loan origination is directly related to the interest rate. You can always pay more in closing costs and get a lower rate because you're buying it down, or you can take a higher rate with lower closing costs. So that's what you really have to compare. There's a company online, again, not mentioning names, that quotes rates that seem really good. And then when the client finally gets the loan estimate, they realize they were paying $25,000 to get it.
It's a bait and switch too. I mean, I think
it's not a bait and switch. It's just, this is the rate, but like, the rate doesn't matter until you see the fees associated with it.
Well, I think that's the point, right? Is that you got to make sure you're really comparing apples to apples. Like at the end of the day, you can't just go on some of these online.
Exactly.
And apples to apples, I want everyone to hear this, is the same day comparison.
That's true.
Somebody's rates from last Wednesday compared to my rates today are apples to oranges.
Especially these days.
Yesterday, after the CPI data, rates changed 3 times. Wow. Typically, rates come out at noon, and you can lock through end of day, and then they come out the next day at noon through end of day. When the market's volatile, it'll change midday. And yesterday, rates came out, they changed for the worse, they changed for the worse. So sometimes it's not even just the day. It's because I had someone comparing numbers, and I was like, when did you get the estimate? And they were saying 11. I knew it's at 4. I was like, you have to call them and get updated numbers because the market changes.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah, it's really quick.
I find it super important too. Sorry, is that someone like you who's local is accessible. I can call on a Sunday afternoon and know that I'm going to get you, as opposed to perhaps some of these online people who are they answering their phone at 6 o'clock on a Sunday? Maybe not.
Well, and that's a key thing for us, right? Is I mean, like, candidly, like, there's no, like, the only reason we refer our referral partners is the customer service aspect of it, right? We know these people, we trust these people, we work with them all the time, and we know we get the deal done, and so it's just a better experience for our clients.
Having someone available nights and weekends is definitely essential.
Yeah.
Especially if we need that updated,
buyers have to be nimble,
letter
and so we need someone who's going to work with us.
Well, they do, right? Like, I always make the same joke. My wife asked me if I like something. I was like, what does it cost? She's like, why does it matter? I was like, if it costs $200, I like it. If it costs $500, I don't. And I tell buyers that with the property too. Like, I'm going to run general numbers, but when you truly find a property you're interested in, first thing you need to do is reach out. Let's look at that day's rates. Let's look up taxes. Let's get you numbers specific to the property you're looking at before you make an offer.
Yeah, no, that's great.